a lot of problems. But as it matures, it has homes out there. I mean, there are homeless people in this country, but the banks are foreclosing and emptying those houses, and rather than leaving them up, they're bulldozing them down. That is not a good king would not do that. He would have his people in a home. Why destroy something that has been built that can be useful? That's pathologically sick, people. Okay. So this banking system that's now moving out of the United States to set up its world banking system has used this thing called the bailout money to start as seed money the central banks that it will use in order to take over and, of course, move its agenda forward using a huge growth in China that is now occurring. The central banks, they're not prohibited from going other places. And they certainly don't give a rip when, of course, their business fails because where they're doing business in the neighborhood that they're in isn't doing well. So they're going to move because it's a business. Well, that isn't what we have banking for. It's not because we want them to be in business. They're there because we need to have a means of commerce. Now, granted, folks, everybody likes to have this idea that we don't even need money. We don't need it at all. But we can't just hop on that boat. We have to take it in steps. Not everybody's going to get up every day and go to work and contribute to society because some people are going to take advantage of it and stay home. So then your bed's not going to get made, your car's not going to get made, your gasoline won't get made, and your house won't get made, and your food won't get produced. That's why you go to a community where they participate together and are understanding that they need to contribute, that it's a contributory, not compulsory, but you do it because of your heart. And I think that might be what Chris was saying. Christ wants us to do things with a good heart. Also, with this China taking over several of our assets and infrastructure, it's already occurring, by the way, they need that to feed the growth. And by the way, China is going to fight for more real estate. By the way, China just announced a huge pipeline from Pakistan. See, there's the bad guys, okay? All the bad guys don't sit around the campfire cooking weenies and cooking marshmallows and going, hey, buddy, how's it going? It's more like the mob, folks. The mafia boss from Chicago comes, the mafia boss from New York comes, the mafia boss, and they all meet in Kansas City. They very cautiously sit around the table together with their, Guido behind them and Tony on the other side with all their submachine guns, and they sit at the table and they're forced to deal with each other in order to get something done in their own area. And if they have half a chance, they're going to knock off Pretty Face Floyd at the Kansas City train station so they can take over his territory. That's what's going on in America with the ruling elite and the Cheneys of the world fighting other elements within the ruling elite. China has this pipeline from Pakistan. Where are we supposed to go to fight? Afghanistan. If you'll look in the news now, you're already seeing that there's problems in Pakistan right against the Afghanistan border. Our wars are using us as bullets and cannon fodder, and these people are fighting each other. And we're caught in the middle because we want to believe. We are innocent sheep, actually stupid sheep, that have tried to learn and have tried to learn some kind of truth, and we can't get out of fighting each other. We have to be unified that we're not the problem. This group of people that are doing this is the problem. So then, with the monetary collapse coming, food is going to start becoming a problem, but more importantly, food prices are going to soar in 2010. That's my last prediction is probably the one I'm most qualified to talk about. The pandemic that we've heard about, H1N1, everybody, don't be doing I told you so. Don't do that. You're going to be wrong. The pandemic is going to resurface. You and I have been, of course, lied to, so why should we get any information from them and expect it to be true? There is a network of people trying to get the truth, doctors, researchers, and scientists that haven't got an agenda, and hopefully I'm hooked into some that don't. I could be fooled, but I don't think so. And so what we have found is that in this second explosive increase of H1N1 in Ukraine really wasn't an increase of H1N1. I've already told you that a genetic change in H1N1 doesn't necessarily have to bring it out of that category in order for it to be deadly. And so now we have the incubator getting ready to explode, and I don't know if they're going to be able to contain it. The Ukraine has 3,600,000, more than 600,000 people sick, over 200,000, nearly 250,000 hospitalized. About 700 have died. Now this is it's about a 2-month period. That's rapid for just H1N1. Okay, but here's my concern. The samples from the deaths in the Ukraine, and they have been linked to other locations, in the Netherlands, Mexico, and a location in America, that the samples from these deaths show there are certain locations on the genetic chain that have had changes. These changes have always been there, and it's 100% fatal when those changes have showed up. Folks, if this doesn't get stopped, this is that pandemic. Maybe some of these remote viewers like Ed Dames and those have said they saw during the economic collapse. H1N1 is real. Let's just stop with that. It is actually existing. Number one, it exists. Number two, itself, in and of itself, is not much more deadly than the regular flu. Let's just pretend the death rate percentage-wise is equal. The only thing that makes it more deadly is it's more contagious. So, you know, if 10 get infected, not as many will die as if 1,000 get infected. So just because it is more contagious makes it more deadly. I think that has to be recognized. And finally, this outbreak in the Ukraine is not a normal morphogenic result. You almost have to hold your breath if you're a normal researcher when you say, oh, this is just normal pleomorphic changes in the genetic structure of H1N1. Because these researchers, they sit there and they go, they second guess themselves and they go, I can't believe this is normal. But they can't prove that it isn't, so they don't necessarily report it. But there are a few. There are a few saying, you know, WHO, the World Health Organization, and the European Center for Disease Control, ECDC, are wrong. Their statements are wrong. Of course they're wrong. WHO is under the control of a Chinese, placed there on purpose. This Chinese doctor, she was involved in SARS.